Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
Luke, we're continuing our series on great engineering universities. This time going with I think it's like Blue and Maize or something silly like that. University of Michigan.
So let me start out with a fun story. So a few weeks ago, James and I are talking about topics. I've been on a bit of a hiatus. And he tells me we're doing Michigan. Which one is it? Michigan University.
University of Michigan.
So I completely forget about it for like a week or so. And then I hit him back up on Slack and I said, is this the blue and yellow one or the white and green one? And this is the blue and gold one, or blue and yellow, or whatever their colors are, yellow and maize, or whatever you said it's called, because it doesn't make Michigan University or Michigan State but it doesn't make any sense to me.
It's kind of like going to Penn State or going to the University of Pennsylvania. Like, I wish I could have gone to Penn, but I couldn't.
That's like where doctors and lawyers go.
Right.
Dumb engineers go to Penn State.
Wah wah. A little bit of history, Luke.
Shoot.
All right. So the University of Michigan, also known as Michigan, began with
it's very creative of them.
Oh yeah, it's great naming. Established August 26, 1817.
Whoa! Where'd you get that number?
That's the number I got.
Okay.
So there was some funny business.
Oh,
right?
The whole university.
The university itself, not the
I thought you were talking about the engineering. Okay,
no. That comes later on.
You're
here.
Good.
What I think is interesting about all this, I'll guess into my sentence I'm going to read, you'll figure it out. Shortly after the territory of Michigan was formed in 1805, several of the leading citizens were like, yo, we need some education up in here, right? You know, we got to learn how to plow the roads and make the fields.
Land grant.
Well done. How did you know, Luke?
We talked about this. We talked about this with one of our other. Penn State is a land grant.
Yeah. So early 1806, priest, Father Gabriel Richard, ran a bunch of schools around Detroit. He requested land for a college from the governor. Yep, land grant. Okay, but remember, this is when Michigan was a territory. It didn't even become a state until 1837, and they started doing this sort of stuff. So that's really interesting to me. That's 20 years after the college was established. That's nutso. Now this, I mean, I think we have to talk about it. It's pretty sketchy here because we mentioned Father, whatever his name was. Fast forward a little bit. The Treaty of Fort Meigs, Meigs. Someone just yelled at us for our pronunciation, so sorry about that one.
You're the lexicon here, so they're wrong.
This was thank you. This treaty was signed between the United States and various Native American tribes. Among its provisions was ceding of 1,920 acres of land by the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi tribes to the College of Detroit for either use or sale. And University of Michigan was then later sued in 1971 by the descendants of the tribes, who claimed that the land grant should have been held in a trust with the proceeds used to provide for their education. And of course, the courts ruled in favor of the university, saying that this land was given as a gift by the generous Native American tribes. And so they got nothing.
There's just this history of terrible treatment of Native people here. We got to figure out why we have done that and try not to do that.
Try not to do that anymore.
So bad.
But it's so, like, I saw that and I was just like, crap, of course that's what happened. But the engineering college, like you said, was founded in 1854 is what I had listed, with courses in civil engineering, like most of them. I think Penn State started the same way. Since its founding, the College of Engineering established some of the earliest programs in fields like data science, comp sci, electrical engineering, and nuclear engineering. A couple fun facts to wrap up my history, Luke. The college's aerospace engineering celebrated its 100th anniversary in 2014.
There weren't planes 100 years ago.
This is what I was thinking. I'm like, what was this aerospace program doing? Like, okay, let's get a bicycle with wings and like pedal and see what happens. And then fun fact number 2, the material science and engineering program is the oldest continuing metallurgy and materials program in the United States. So
It's
there we
interesting.
go. Yeah.
I think engineering programs started that year, but the official year from their website was in 1868. They established the College of Engineering, and it was those existing
Gotcha.
courseworks. A
Gotcha.
couple other interesting facts. It's more like current facts versus like history facts. 72 tenured faculty members currently just in the engineering College of Engineering. 19 research faculty, 55 staff members. There's over, that's a lot of staff to
Yeah.
support like a single, like, I mean, it's a really big. So 16,000 plus living alumni. So this doesn't include all the deads. So just saying.
The deads.
I know, it's kind of crazy. You hit the history, and we all had the exact same history. I didn't have much else
In my
on it.
history books of University of Michigan, all that jazz.
So I think we have to get to the most important thing. This is what every parent, hint,
I see where we're going.
It's going to be in my rant later on. So what does it cost if you decide you want to go to Michigan? I do love that you just say Michigan, like, and people know what you mean. I do like that. That is like,
something.
That's pretty cool.
I don't like hearing these numbers, Luke, so I'm going to go off camera for a while.
Please do. So 2022, 2023 tuition and fees. So I combined them. If you are an in-state student, you have the pleasure of living in Michigan. It's $33,555 on the low end, so like $33K.
A deal.
35 and some change. It's one of the few colleges, or I'm sorry, universities I've seen where the first 2 years are more expensive than your second 2 years. It's actually more expensive for juniors and seniors.
How odd.
If you're out of state, this is where it gets bananas. And just like Gwen Stefani used to sing BANANA.
However you spell that, yeah.
However you spell bananas. So out of state, 72,153 on the low end. On the high end, 76. So for juniors and seniors,
and that's with all the fees and stuff wrapped in.
Everything included. So I wrapped it. So this is tuition, fees, a room and board program if you decide to stay on campus.
Like 300 was probably what you were looking at.
Yeah. So 76,031 for juniors and seniors. And I just don't understand why you would ever, and I don't want to get too far ahead of my rant, if you have access to a university at this level of quality, unless you have the disposable income as the parent, or unless you qualify because of your economic status, because they give a lot of money. Basically, if you have a household income of less than $55,000, you essentially go
65.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
You essentially go for free if you are accepted and meet all the other recommendations. There's some other fees you might have and things like that, but you essentially go for a very low price. But
they call it the Go Blue guarantee.
But why would you ever go out of state when, like, I don't know why everybody doesn't go to Penn State or one of its branch campuses. It's an amazing university. Like, stay in that state, get that education, save that money, and don't be one of these, millennials that's trying to get their tuition paid for whenever they decided to go for basket weaving for 5 years at MIT.
But how do you really feel, Luke?
Sorry. It's going to turn into my rant. I'm in rant mode in case you haven't noticed. Sorry.
Oh, my goodness. You have it all pent up from the weeks off, right?
I know. It's been a long time since we've done this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's crazy how expensive it is. We've called it out in a number of our top programs and whatnot before. Let's see here. University of Michigan will pay full undergraduate tuition and mandatory university fees for 4-year students who are eligible for in-state tuition, are eligible to apply for financial aid, have family incomes of $65K or less with assets below 50, are pursuing their first bachelor degree. And, that's for their Go Blue guarantee that they call it. Do you have any more about the tuitions?
No. I think that's enough on tuition before I get angry.
Okay. So to help pay for some of that, right? They go and beg from all of their very successful alumni.
They're donors. They're make giving a lot of money.
Yeah. I saw for FY 2021, They brought in $24 million, almost 41% from individuals, which, maybe they could send a couple bucks our way. We'll sponsor you forever. Or yeah. Bequests, 23%. Is that like when you die, they give
I
them
think when you die,
money?
some of your estate or proceeds from your estate.
Corporations, which is basically what, just individuals that went there, right?
I'm assuming it's like CEOs of
34,
companies.
yeah, 34%, and then foundations a little under 2%. But the uses, 125 million of their revenue monies goes to that student aid that we're talking about, and then they have it broken out through everything else. But lots
Question
of
for
dollars.
you: do you support, as an alumni, alumnus? Am I using the word right? Alumni of Penn State. Do you support Penn State in any way?
I do support Penn State in any way,
Nice.
but I do know people who don't support Duquesne in any way. So I won't name any names, Brianna.
Oh, I thought you meant me because my wife works.
No.
Okay.
Her decade there was enough, she says, that she supported them for enough time.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. So we have demographics, we have acceptance rates, all that sort of information. But before we do that, I think it's probably time for us to take a break for a word from our sponsor.
I mean, I have to assume this is Michigan State. No, that's the green one.
That's the green one, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out that that's the green one, and that
Michigan State sponsored our Michigan University. I don't get it. The green one sponsoring the blue one is the joke. Sorry.
So we have a couple of shout outs here instead.
What do we got?
Number one, and I'm actually screwing these up because I slapped them in the other episode we were going to be doing. Richard H. says, "Hi, James and Luke. I recently found your podcast and have started listening from the very beginning. I'm now at episode 215, which kind of hurts my brain, right?
Best place to start.
On concussions. Love the show. I listen in 12-hour stretches while I drive a big truck delivering alumina powder to a smelter. Maybe you could do a show on the aluminum smelting process."
Totally ruined that shout out.
I know. I'm so sorry about that. I'm hoping that you are still offering stickers because I would love to put one on my lifted Toyota truck in honor of your first ever episode,
Nice.
Luke. How about that?
Wow, there's so many connections with that one.
Right. And then the next shout out, Stephen, maybe it's Stefan, but I'm going with Stephen from Ohio, listening on Podcast Addict. Subject is Koenigsegg, the company Koenigsegg.
The supercar company.
Yes. It says, "Dude, you guys, if you have not yet heard of this company, you're missing out big time. Get ready to be amazed multiple times in your research. Thanks for doing what you do. I'm looking forward to at least one episode, if not a series on them. And yes, I have to Google how to spell that every time." So added it to the list.
I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah, I've always called it Koenig. And I don't know if I'm just saying that because I don't know how to say it, but yeah, they make supercars, like one of a kind, multi-million-dollar supercars.
Yeah, I think someone else wrote in with that, and I was like, I've never heard of this nonsense. And then you knew that because you're much smarter and more handsome and funnier than me.
Well-versed.
Well-versed. So thank you for your write-ins, all of that. If any of you would like to write in, tell us what a great job we're doing. Tell us you hate the way we pronounce words. Tell us, James, why do you look kind of blue in this episode? I don't know, anything like that. Why don't you go ahead and email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, share. We love the reviews. And as always, you can tell your smart devices to play the Unprofessional Engineering Podcast. I told you I wouldn't get rusty.
That was nailed it.
It's
man.
been
nailed
what?
It.
It's been like 9 weeks since we've since we've recorded.
Yeah, we're on month 3. That's a while. Sorry, everyone. Demographics, Luke. I saw the breakdown of demographics. They only told me the women's, and I guess we just assume the rest are the men's.
Yeah. So here's my take on that. I saw that. So they called it URM.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck is URM? And they call it, and that's underrepresented minorities. And my guess is that's their way of saying we do really bad at getting like
Yeah.
minority groups in larger percentages. So like the women are doing great, like 28. The one is like 28%, I think. But then like the URM, that so does URM subtract out the women because
No, I think those are
yeah, are they getting
inclusive.
double counted? Because
Yeah.
usually women are considered underrepresented minorities whenever it
Yeah.
comes to these types of statistics. So,
Yeah. So
yeah,
for their bachelors, 29% for women. Underrepresented minorities is only 14%. So that includes Black, Hispanic, Native American, Hawaiian, or two or more races, with at least one of the previous ones included. So pretty small, but if you've ever been to Michigan, probably don't really
it
be
is kind of in the
surprised by
middle of
that.
nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Master's program 24 and 12, and doctorals 30 and 15. So, doing better there. If we look at the acceptance rates,
Oh,
the total first year applicants is almost 21,000. This was back in fall of 2021. Percents offered admission 18%. Oof. So make sure you have a backup school, kids.
yes.
Look at Penn State, maybe. I
Did you
don't know.
see? Did you see the grades these kids had to get?
They weren't the dumbest kids. I'll
They
tell
were
you
not
that.
the dumbest kids.
I saw,
3.9
yeah.
was the median GPA.
Like, isn't that like saying, like, hey, if you got an A minus once, sorry about your
So
luck.
like I've been giving, and this is going to come up a little bit later in my rant, but like I've been giving my daughter like a hard time about like you're such a nerd, like 4.0 straight A's pretty much since
You give
like
her
I
a
can
hard time
remember.
about that?
It's just like I tell her just relax, enjoy high school, and then I do this research, and I'm like, no, 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 never relax, never enjoy high school. Just be the biggest nerd you can possibly be, and that gives you all the opportunity that you could ever want to choose from.
Yeah. Yeah.
450 for
And
SAT.
yeah, isn't that crazy?
I thought it only went up to 1400.
14 feet. No, 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 not so much. Yeah, super high, super high. Entering graduate school, total applicants 12,000, 30% get offered. Median GRE, I don't know GREs, it was a 168, but your median undergraduate GPA has to be a 3.7. I'll tell you who did not have a 3.7 in undergrad, and it's this guy. So good for all of you that are getting into grad school at Michigan. My goodness.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of these kind of top tier schools, their grad programs are probably similar to that. Like you're gonna go to like you're gonna go to like Edinburgh for
Yeah.
undergrad, and you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it.
Yeah, I know my brother got accepted to Penn State for grad school, but he went there, which is like a leg up. He was like a teaching assistant kind of thing there. So he had a
Always
lot of
helps.
stuff going on. But a couple other things to help you stand out if you're applying to Michigan. Engage in something creative. It's super corny if you read their webpage, but basically participate in an activity that expresses your imagination, like painting or writing club or something like that. Extracurriculars. This is so silly. Extracurriculars aren't like Pokemon. You don't have to collect them all. Like, it's so ridiculous. So have extracurricular activities, but have one or two that you're really focused on and that you make an impact with. Show your leadership, attend summer programs, and not necessarily just like, hey, I went to the local park and played basketball program. Make it something that is more like, engineering related, an engineering summer program that you
Oh,
volunteered for,
that's what
something
you
like
meant.
that.
I
What do you
did
mean?
summer school every year in high school.
That's very different,
Was that
Luke.
a different reason?
Also, another reason you weren't getting into Michigan. And then there's also, of course, community engagement. So similar to like all those others MITs and that we talked about. So there's
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these
you
like
and your
top
summer school.
every year. I was super well
Perfect
qualified.
attendance.
I
Yeah.
know. I think a lot of these top tier engineering schools, I think that you kind of have to assume, 20,000 kids or 21,000 kids are applying every year, right? So of that 21,000, you're probably not going to apply if you're not close to that 4.0. Like they're doing
All
some
the
of their
kids have your
research.
grades. You
So
have to set yourself apart.
if
Right.
everybody has the grades and everybody has, the SAT or ACT scores, then it has to be something like super unique. And I think that's where So the one thing that so my daughter has done karate for like a ton of years, and if she can like rely on, being a second degree black belt and did all of that while maintaining these grades and the leadership that's involved in doing that and the dedication to, I feel like that's like one for her. That's probably going to be one of her big, like, this sets me apart from the
Yeah.
2,000 other applicants or 20,000 other applicants. How many of them have that dedication to, that particular thing?
I
So
don't I don't want to be that guy, Luke, but if things start to get a little hairy or dicey, like for her to try and get into Michigan or MIT or one of these schools, you could always play the "Do you know who my dad" card is? He's
I,
Luke from
I,
Unprofessional Engineering.
you know what? That would be
Like
so
drop that on
nice
them. Yeah.
if that carried any weight whatsoever.
It might detract from
It
her
could. We're
application.
taking 3 points off of your GPA and 200 off of your SAT because of your father and his
I love
friend
it.
James.
I love it. Where do you want to go next with this, Luke?
So I think we have to start digging into like the specific like engineering schools.
Perfect.
So they offer eight, and I'll go through some of them, not every single one, but just at a high level, they offer 18 undergraduate engineering programs. They offer 57 graduate programs within engineering. So obviously the specializations, there's more of them. And there's 14 different engineering departments, which is weird because I would think that the departments and the undergraduates would be equal, but apparently some of them
I wonder if it's like
share.
a Department of Mechanical and Nuclear Engineering or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think Penn State did that.
So just to review a couple of them, the engineering program. Where is it at? I had it up here. Undergraduate degree programs. So they have aerospace, and if you go to their website, they have all the price there. So they have aerospace, biomedical, chemical, civil, environmental, climate, and space, whatever that is. Electrical engineering, computer hardware, computer science, IT, industrial operations, mechanical, material, naval architecture, which I thought was a cool one because
Is that like belly buttons? Different.
Different naval. Naval architecture and marine and nuclear. And the cool thing is, so they list like what the salaries are for like entry level positions for each one of these, which I thought was pretty cool because like in every single case, a degree from the blue and gold Michigan is better than the average salary of I guess overall, like literally every single one. And in some cases it's significant. Like the nuclear engineering is like $6,000 more. The electrical engineering is like, what is that? That's like almost $12,000 more. I mean, it's a significant advantage to go to one of these schools, and to get that from Michigan State. So
yeah,
I keep
Michigan.
saying it wrong, Michigan.
Yeah, their rankings. Let's see, aerospace 6, biomedical 9, chem 10, civil 4, comp eng 7, electrical 7, environmental 3, industrial 2, materials 8, mechanical 4, and nuclear number 1. Really impressive, huh?
Yeah, and that kind of lines up with the schools and the average salaries. So
yeah, and they like going through their average salaries, they listed out, and you can just go on their webpage or wherever to find this information. But they listed out if you get your bachelor here, this is what you can expect to make, like aerospace starting at 77, give or take. Comp eng starting at almost 107, comp sci 109, nutso. But then if you look at their average master's degree, if you have your master's in aerospace, you're going to be starting almost 20,000 a year more for that 2-year-ish investment in your school. But then if you look at something like environmental, where it's not what I think I said number 3 ranked, you're only getting like $1,500, $2,000 a year more for getting that master's degree. So, make sure you factor in these things if you're considering that continued education, if you're taking the 10-year plan like my wife did.
And I think that's really important to think about. Like, I think people just like, so you hear all this time, oh, it's my dream school. Well, just because it's your dream school doesn't mean it's not going to turn into a financial nightmare. Like when you graduate and you
Whoa.
have to pay it back, and you could have done it for far less had you gone in state somewhere else.
Did you
So
plan to have dream and nightmare in that
I did
statement?
not.
Because that worked out so well.
Wow, I am,
That was like, yeah, that was like TED Talk stuff
I
right
have those
there.
moments.
Wow.
That was one of them, James.
That was
Can we
so
just
good.
stop the podcast right here?
I would like to, but instead, let's take a break for this week's Luke's Rant.
Okay, I think everybody knows where I'm going with this. So my daughter is in the process, depending on where you're from, of
Process. Brits.
I think so. in people that want to be Brits. She's looking at universities, and of course, we love Michigan, and we love West Michigan and Ann Arbor, and like in particular from a vacationing standpoint. So we've been there so many times. We've driven through Ann Arbor a bunch of times. We visited the university just kind of casually, a few times. And so, where do you think she wants to go to college? Top of her list.
Obviously, we know it is the blue and
the blue and
maize.
gold one, whatever it is,
whichever one it says we're talking about here.
So that's the one it's literally like top 3 right now. And so bear in mind, James, my wife works at a university, and guess what? One of the benefits of working at a university is whenever you have children,
you get to pay more.
They go there for free. And it's just like, so the thought of, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm going to try to be the best parent I can be and help her as much as I can. But like right now, like that whole value versus like when you went in for your first interview, was it like, which school did you graduate with this undergraduate degree that you have? Like you could have put
I do think they were like, oh, Penn State, very nice.
But you could have also had BC3 on it or CCAC on it. And as long as it said undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering, I don't think they would have necessarily, unless the person you're interviewing with was from that university maybe, and there's a little bit of camaraderie going. So I'm really hoping that we can kind of turn that. Either that or we have some friends in Michigan. We might change our address like 18 months, I think.
Oh, there you go.
Just change the address, I think it's 18 to 24 months ahead of time, and then there won't be any. But yeah, so kids, so here's my rant. Like, I get you want a dream school. I totally get that. But all of this debt forgiveness stuff that's going on in, politics right now is because lots and lots of people decided to go to their dream universities for degrees that they knew ahead of time they were never going to make enough money to afford paying it back. And why you would choose to do that, and as a parent, why you would let your child do that is almost problematic. That's the real problem. And so kids, go to a school that's in state. If you have great grants and loans and aid for out of state, you do not want to your goal should be graduating with the least amount of debt possible and the best degree in that order.
Yeah.
There's my rant.
There you go. Do you ever just think, I think I smell bad? I mean, totally off topic.
You can't tell this is hitting home right now at all, I'm sure.
No, not at all. Moving on, Luke. Engineering team activities. This is something that I wanted to call out because it's important to set yourself apart when you are getting that first job. Michigan has a ton of them. They have something called Blue Lab. They have Baja SAE team. They have Formula SAE, which I think we have an episode on. Go check that one out. They have the Concrete Canoe, which we haven't covered yet, but we really should sometime. Michigan Electric Race Team, Michigan Mars Rover Team, because why isn't that a thing? Robotic Submarine, Steel Bridge, Solar Car Team, Aeronautic Science Association, the Super Mileage Team. This is the Shell Eco Marathon, M-Fly, Autonomy, Human Powered Submarine, and Human Powered Helicopter, which I won't even go in a not human powered helicopter. So
I
good
concur.
luck to you. But yeah, really cool. The Michigan Baja racing team is among one of the top performing in the nation. So if you can get on that one, you win yourself a little prize. I bet that helps you get a job someday.
Yeah, like I'm looking at that list you probably lifted a couple from. It's literally an
No,
Excel spreadsheet,
it's from
and
my
my
time at
guess is
Michigan.
there's probably 100 different specific organizations just within the engineering. So like you can pretty much find anything. Like they literally have like Greek life specific engineering programs.
Yeah,
They
they do.
have some of the ones you mentioned. They got stuff for coding. It's crazy the number of, like, I was expecting there to be a handful. Like everybody does Baja, everybody does
Yeah, yeah.
SAE, but like the number of them is pretty impressive.
I have a few other reasons you might want to go to Michigan.
Oh,
One would be the colorful tradition at the University of Michigan, which is painting the rock, which sits on the corner of Nashtana and Hill Street.
nailed it.
It's a rock that just sits there to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, but it has thousands of gallons of paint on it because ever since the 50s, it'd get like vandalized in the big Ohio State Michigan rivalry, and the students would freshen it up, and then it'd happen again. So it's covered in all these layers of paints. There's something called the Squirrel Club. The Squirrel Club is an organization of students, alumni, and members of the community that come together every Sunday in the fall and winter to feed squirrels. So apparently that's something you might want to do. They have the Musical Society. It's a nonprofit for performing groups at the auditorium. Amazing shows at student ticket prices. I like this one. If this is a reason you're going for that price, I don't know. Every Wednesday they have free bagels and coffee if you show your M card, whatever that is, to volunteers at the Alumni Center. University of Michigan has 200 study abroad programs, and it also has the largest football stadium in the country, the third biggest in the world. So that's something.
It is an impressive stadium.
I have been there. I went to
For
a
a
game.
game?
Yeah, when
Oh, that had to be pretty cool.
Penn State and Michigan were playing each other. They were both ranked in the top
You were
10.
student, or is this
This was maybe 5+ years ago
okay?
now. Penn State wasn't as good as they were ranked and got destroyed.
Crushed.
It was so bad that the Michigan fans were like patting me on the back. Like there was no harassment. There was nothing. It was just, this is such a massacre. We're sorry this is happening to you. So that was very nice. One other story real quick before we get into like alumni or something like that. Another reason you might want to go here. I don't know what you're into. The first time I ever went to Ann Arbor, I was doing a training with another colleague on our simulation software, and one of our folks took us out to dinner and drinks, took us around Ann Arbor. We ended up at a place called the Landing Strip, which was a lovely establishment. Email if you know about that place. And we roll back to the hotel about 3 a.m, and the dude whips out his laptop and he's like, so I've been really having some trouble getting this model to converge. Do you think we can look at it? We're sitting in a hotel parking lot at 3 a.m, and the guy,
likely.
I can't recall that. And this guy wants to do simulation analysis. Like it was fantastic. All right. What's up, Luke?
Okay, so we got to talk about it. So I'm going to pick my top famous alumni, and I'd love to see if it's the same as yours.
I don't know if I have a oh, well, I have.
So
let me look at my list.
Quick.
I know it's one of two. Go ahead.
So I got Selma Blair.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were going with. That's your favorite?
I'm doing this in jest. Play along.
Oh, my bad.
Selma Blair. The next one would be David Allen Greer.
I saw David Allen.
The next one would be Darren Criss. He was on the cast of Glee.
I think my wife likes him.
Those are probably my 3 favorite and I think most prominent graduates of Michigan. I mean, there's a couple other people like, I don't know, Tom Brady, I think may have graduated.
Oh yeah, he did.
Maybe Mike Wallace.
I wouldn't even mention him.
I mean, we may have had a president or two, Gerald Ford, but I really think Darren Criss is probably...
Criss is he's the cream of the crop.
It's funny because when you Google like notable alumni, he shows up as number 3 before Tom Brady.
Ooh, Tommy. Tom's going to be big on Fox now with his sportscasting now that he's retired again.
Oh, did he officially retire?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I have a few more.
Who else do you got?
Larry Page, who is the co-founder and first CEO of Google, which is kind of a big deal. Sanjay Gupta, who we probably all know after the whole COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
John DeLorean. He invented Marty McFly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what he did.
He did. He did.
Robert Atkins, who made the Atkins diet. He graduated in 51. They have a Nobel Prize winner in Stanley Cohen. I had Darren Criss on my list as well. They have 3 astronauts, but the most important and by far the best, Darth Vader, graduated from the University of Michigan, James Earl Jones.
So I'm going to tell you something not to do on the internet, anybody who's listening.
Oh dear.
Like
there's a lot of things.
You're going to Google, famous Michigan alumni, and it's going to list like Larry Page, James Earl Jones goes on list, and Iggy Pop is listed as like number 7. And when you pick on the alumni, it brings up a picture of that person. It is the most unflattering thing I have ever seen. Like I'm looking at it now accidentally. It's Iggy Pop without a shirt on. I think Iggy Pop is 75. And you can only imagine, like, don't do it. Just go to the other people and pick on their pictures. It is it's terrible. Like, I'm going to have nightmares now.
I'm going to do that after this.
Don't.
A few fun facts to wrap things up, Luke.
Please do.
They have some weird thing about walking in a fountain. Students walk through the Cooley Fountain in some Ingalls Mall during orientation when they're freshmen to officially become Wolverines. Upon graduation, students walk through the fountain the opposite direction away from campus, signifying that they've now graduated. But it's considered to be bad luck to step on the M at the center of this fountain, I guess, which is something.
That's interesting.
Also, a third of the Michigan marching band is made up of Michigan engineers, which is kind of a cool thing. And then my favorite fact of all of them is the University of Michigan was a contender to be used for the set of Hogwarts for the Harry Potter movies.
There are some spots in there that I could definitely see. It's very Gothic and old, the building.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that for sure.
Hoggy Hogwarts.
I just watched Prisoner of Azkaban a few days
that's
ago.
A good one.
Every now and then, like when we can't decide what movie to watch, we kick my wife out, and me and my daughter watch one of the what are we talking about? Harry Potters.
Beautiful. That's everything that I had, Luke.
This was good. I enjoyed it. I have
glad we're back.
Full confidence. I am not going to allow my daughter to go to the blue and gold one.
I fully support you in that decision. If any of you support Luke in that decision, if you think we did a great job, if you want us to cover your university, which we probably won't, let's be fair, but maybe, if you just want to tell us we're great, anything like that, go ahead and email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. And until next time,
see ya.